Thank you, Mr. Tabash. A question for Mr. Tabash. Each of your arguments contains such words as monstrous, ridiculous, justice, plus absurd. Each of these words assumes a sense of value. In a universe without design, where does this sense of value base itself?
The sense of value comes from our experience as human beings, looking at the human condition and struggling with the vicissitudes of life and coming up with, as best we can, realistic answers. It does not come from inventing in our own minds a fictitious being who we then vest with the authority to control us. It doesn't come by pretending that something outside of ourselves exists and then using that something outside of ourselves to then put moral controls on us. Just like love does not require a postulated supernatural being in order to be a valid emotion. Love does not require the God of Christianity in order to abound among people of goodwill. So it is that love is not the only great moral good that can exist without a deity. So can charity, and most of all, so can mercy. So can the realization that because we are alone on this planet, that all we have is each other, and that makes more poignant and more tragic the importance of our caring for each other. That is a high morality that comes from the absence of a divine parent.
Thank you, Mr. Tabash. Dr. Bahnsen, would you please respond?
In an atheist universe, there's no obligation for us to care for each other whatsoever, because we're nothing more but bags of biological chemicals and things subject to the laws of physics. And Mr. Tabash has been asked a very good question. It'd be nice if he finally would come out and address it and deal with it rather than skirting it. How do values comport with his view of the universe? Now, no one doubts that atheists feel love. I agree they do, because I know they're made in the image of God. I can account for the love that they feel. I can account for the compassion they want to show. But they cannot account for it, because every time they do, they end up appealing to things which are not molecules in motion. Talk about fictitious projections. He thinks that's what my God is. Without this God, we couldn't reason at all and make these moral judgments. But you make a fictitious projection that there is something like value or love when all you have to work with are molecules in motion. It should be commented somewhere along the line, because it's just not right for a man to keep making remarks that are distorted and false and just think he can walk away from that publicly. The Bible does not teach capital punishment for nothing more than picking up sticks. And yes, I know the book of Numbers, and yes, I'll be glad to debate that with you anyway. The man who picked up sticks defied God to his face. For that, he was executed.